bit early, but not much. It's close to 10:30. And it is the last day of 2020. Here we are, December 31st. Last class of the year. So, this gentle yoga, 10:30 on Thursday the 31st. So, start to get comfortable, everybody, whether you're at home or here in the studio. If you need blankets to sit on, use them. If you like to sit up higher, it helps your hips. You want to be comfortable in your hips. You don't want to be fighting yourself, you know. Use blocks too. Sometimes blocks underneath like this, underneath your knees if you're sitting cross-legged, takes pressure if it bothers your hips or your knees. So ease your way into now feeling your breath, just accepting your breaths in and out through your nose. Feeling the belly rising as you inhale. And if you can imagine a string attached to the base of your spine, coming up through your spinal column, out through the top of your head, and being pulled upward, that string, so that you get that sense of just a little more space in your spine. And then it's easier to breathe. It's certainly easier to come into those three-part breaths. Inhaling into your belly, into your ribs, all the way up into your chest. And now start to move forward and back with your breath. Let your exhalations bring you forward a little bit. Doesn't matter how much. And your inhales bring you back up. So whether it's an inch or 5 or 6 or 7 inches that you move forward, just keeping that nice long back. Enjoying allowing the breath to move you. Exhaling your way forward and inhaling your way back up. Now the next time that you end up back upright, let yourself stay there, lengthening up through the top of your head. Release your arms out beside you, and we'll inhale both arms all the way out and up overhead, and on our exhale, let our hands come down together in front of our hearts. And reversing to inhale the hands right up through the midline, and on the exhale, opening the arms on back out and down. Let's inhale here at center. On the exhale, we'll twist to our right, bringing our left hand around, maybe to the midline, maybe to your right knee. Depends on you how far you go. Just lightly touching the floor back there with your fingertips, or if you're in your chair, letting your arm drape over the back of your chair. One more inhale. And on the exhale, we'll come back around through center and keep on going all the way into the other direction. So again, that right hand can be on your left knee or to the midline. Feel the right sitting bone drawing down into the surface you're on. One more inhale. And let your exhale bring you back. Use your belly a little bit to come on back into center. And let's inhale the hands straight out from the shoulders and flex your hands here. And then bring your hands to meet in front of your heart, but let the fingers really connect and the thumbs, and lift your elbows up and press your hands gently together, just to wake up your wrists a little more. And then let your hands separate. Tips of the middle fingers are only touching here for a second, like you're laying your hands onto a desk in front of you or a cabinet. And then start to send the backs of the hands towards each other. But don't push hard, just a little gentle pressure there. And then release and let the arms come straight out from your shoulders here. Turn your palms up. And then we'll inhale both arms all the way into a wide V. Let your pinkies turn towards each other. Drop your shoulders down. Feel that lift of the belly. And on the exhale, bringing your hands right down in front of your chest, in front of your heart. We're going to unfold our arms. If we're cross-legged on the floor, we're going to switch the cross. So bring the other leg in front. Stretch them out first if you need. Use that support if you need. And then we're going to come forward and back again with the breath. Let your exhalations bring you forward, and your inhales bring you back up so that you feel that length of your spine. And you're allowing the breath to move the body. Good. And the next time again that you end up upright, let yourself stay there. Bring your arms out beside you, and we're going to tilt our head to the right ear towards your right shoulder. And then imagine you're just rolling sideways down through your spine. Let the weight of the head let you roll down through your spine a little bit. And then send your left arm up. Let the arm reach up. Now, if you want to lower it down towards your head, coming more into a side stretch, you can. And now turn to look down towards the ground. See if you can bring that left arm down a little bit. So you open the shoulder a little bit more and get there between the shoulder blades on your back. And then open back to the side stretch. As you look to the front, open back in to the front. And we're going to rise back up and lower that arm down. And we're going to tilt our head to the left. And again, left ear towards the left shoulder and then rolling down a little bit. Let your right arm come up, straight up first. And then you can go ahead and turn the palm down as you reach over into that side stretch. If it bothers your shoulder, don't do the arm part. Keep the hand down totally. Let's turn to look downward towards the ground. And then again, see if you can lower your right arm down a little bit. Open up a little more between the shoulder blades. And then on your next inhale, open back into that side stretch. And we're going to rise all the way on back up into center. And let's inhale both arms all the way out and up overhead. And on our exhale, let our hands come down together in front of our hearts. And now, clasp your hands. Squeeze your palms together for a second. Feel your biceps. And then start to press the heels of the hands forward. So you're waking up your fingers a little bit more here, pressing into the heels of the hands. Try not to roll forward in your shoulders. It's more like you're plugging your upper arm bones back into your shoulder sockets. And then lower your hands on down. Undo your hands. Shake them out a little bit. Circle around a little bit through your wrists. And we're going to come on around towards our hands and knees from here. And you know, if you do not want to be on your knees, do not be. Use your chair seat if you need, underneath your hands. Use your blocks under your hands if you want. Or come on to a blanket. Sometimes if your wrists bother you, being on a blanket helps. Or do fists, right? So that you take that wrist crease entirely away. And then start to move through your cat-cows, letting your exhalations draw you into that cat pose. And your inhalations move you through to your cow or to your neutral spine. So just be mindful. Don't push it. Just let it feel really easy. You know, you can stay in cat or cow for a breath or two without moving. If that feels better, do it. And then finish off the one you're on. Come to more neutral spine here. And we're going to come into our lunges. Left foot forward, right foot back. So take your time. You know, as you step that right foot back, how long of a stance you take, totally up to you. Reach that right heel directly behind your foot. Feel the feet pressing away from each other. If you want to lift your left hand up or forearm up to your thigh, you can. That is up to you. And we are going to switch. We're going to go the other side. So mindfully bringing yourself again into the length of the stance is fine for you. That alignment of that front knee right out over the center of the foot easily. Good. And again, if you like lifting that right hand up or forearm up, you can. That's up to you. And we are going to switch again. Now this time, we are going to straighten the front knee out. So kind of anticipate that a little bit in setting up your stance. And you may want your hands up higher too. So as you straighten that front knee out, if you need to go up to the highest height of the blocks, do. Or straightening the front knee out and letting that back heel descend directly behind your foot. So now you're really getting into the backs of the legs here. And then we'll bend that front knee again. We're going to step forward, and we're going to switch that way, stepping the left foot back. And again, finding that length of lunge. Remember, you want your feet a little apart like you're on narrow railroad tracks. And when you straighten that front leg out and you let the left heel descend, imagine extending your torso out over that front leg. Make sure you're not rolling on your front foot. Good, then we'll bend that front knee, and we're going to step forward and come into standing forward bend. Now you might want some support because we're going to play a little bit with our toes. So if you need your hands up on blocks or up on the chair, do, or elbows above your knees, but try lifting all your toes up. So all your toes are up off the floor. You've got really the base of the big toe mound, the base of the little toe mound reaching down, the inner and outer heel, but the arches are lifting up. Now see if you can keep your toes up and put just your big toes down. Keep all the other toes up, press the big toes down into the floor. And then bring the big toes back up. Now everything's up again. Now try to keep the big toes up and put all the other toes down. If you can't do it, it's okay. Use your fingers to help you. If you can try to keep those big toes up and the toes down, it's supposed to really help lift your arches to work through your toes like this. And then come on back into all toes up. Spread them out a little if you can, even if you have to use your hands to help you. And then let the toes release down. Bend your knees, lift your heels up a little bit, and really feel the balls of the feet into the floor. And then bring your heels down and let yourself release into your forward bend, wherever you want to go, right? Elbows above knees. If you have a chair there, sometimes putting your head on a block on the chair or on the chair itself feels good. That keeps your back long, but those of you who are fine to go ahead and fold over your legs, do. Release your face. Feel soft all around your eyes, all around your mouth, and across your forehead. One more breath. And then we'll bring our hands up to our hips. As we bend our knees, we'll rise up to standing. And inhale our arms all the way out and up overhead. And on our exhale, let our hands come down together in front of our hearts. Now see if you can just shift side to side a little bit. Just like you're swaying. Not so big you feel like you're going to fall over. But shifting your weight to the right, to the left. And make then again that sense of coming back to center be really easy, that you feel like, oh, I'm right there in the middle. So once you get into center, feel your tailbone dropping down like it's reaching towards between your heels. Press the feet into the floor, draw your thighs gently upward. Hips over ankles, shoulders over hips, gaze coming out, so it's real easy to find length in the back of your throat. And then we'll unfold, let our arms come down beside us, and inhale both arms all the way out and up overhead. And on the exhale, bend our knees and come forward into standing forward bend. Let your next inhale help you find a nice long flat back. Does not matter where your hands go, your legs, to your chair, to your blocks. And we're going to step our right foot back to find lunge. And inhale. Exhale into downward facing dog pose. Your choice. What height your hands are. So much to do with your shoulders. You do want to think about lengthening your spine, but you don't want to be uncomfortable in your shoulders. Let your elbows hug towards each other. Walk if you need to, bending a knee at a time if that helps you adjust more in the backs of your legs. And then we'll come on out towards a plank. You don't have to go all the way into a plank. You know that. You can go to forearms. You can put your knees down, do a half plank. You can do little push-ups if you want. And then we'll come on back into down dog. So reaching back equally through your sit bones. And we'll bring our right foot forward from here to come into lunge. And if you need to put your left knee down to get there, do. And then all the way back into standing forward bend. Feet right underneath you, hips distance apart and parallel. Go right to your breaths. Now see if you can stay with your breaths all the way through your inhales, all the way through your exhales. Knees bend. We'll bring our hands to our hips. We're going to come on up and inhale the arms all the way out and up overhead. And on our exhale, bring our hands down together in front of our hearts. Let's unfold our arms. Bring your hands behind you. Clasp your hands and bend your elbows enough where you can squeeze your palms together back here. So you're engaged here into the shoulders, the biceps. And now let that come down a little bit. Release the palms away from each other and slide that left forearm onto your low back if you can, right? If it bothers your shoulder, don't do it. If you can squeeze your right palm now into your left, your hands are really squeezing together, do. And now, if possible, release the right arm down beside you. You've got this left arm folded in. And see if you can rise your right arm out and up overhead and bend the elbow. Now some of you might want to be right here. Hand on top of the head, behind the neck. Some of you might want to think of reaching that left hand towards your right hand on your back. Don't do it if it's too much for your shoulders. You're trying to let your shoulders warm up and open up, not hurt, right? So be mindful. Take your time. Good, and then we're going to release. Bring the hands behind you. Interlace your fingers again. And now slide your hands to the left. Get your left forearm, if you can, onto your low back there. And then if you can squeeze your palms together, do. Engaging your biceps into your shoulders. Good. And then let your left arm just come down. And totally up to you if you want to rise the arm up overhead or not. And bend the elbow. And where it comes, man. Maybe you need to do this. Maybe you need to come way down with your hand out beside you. And again, if you can bring your hands, or you like to bring your hands towards each other, do. Keeping your gaze forward. Feel your tailbone reaching down towards between your heels. Good. And then we'll let our arms come back down. Let's inhale the arms out from the shoulders. And then rotate your palms up. Let the elbows feel really a little soft. And then we'll continue to inhale the arms all the way up overhead. And on the exhale, bend your knees and come forward into your standing forward bend. Let your next inhale help you find that nice long flat back. And this time left foot comes back into our lunge. And inhale. Exhale into your downward facing dog pose. So again, whether your hands are up on the seat of the chair, down to blocks or the floor, feel that sense of elbows softly hugging inward. but feel your hands very equal. You know, you're trying not to roll to the outside edges of your hands. Really even feel your thumbs. And then we're going to come on out towards that plank. Again, nice and strong. Whether you do a full plank or you put your knees down or your elbows come to the forearms, find that core strength. If you like to bend your elbows, do little push-ups, you can. And then we'll make our way back again into down dog. And we will bring the left foot forward this time to come into lunge. And then we'll come on back into standing forward bend again. Feet underneath us. Again, you release to where you're comfortable, whether you like support or you want to hold your elbows, or you want to put your hands somewhere else, like behind your legs or up on your back. Following your breaths all the way in and out. And then we'll release our hands back up to our hips. We're going to rise on up to standing and inhale our arms all the way out and up. And on our exhale, bring our hands down together in front of our hearts. Let's inhale the hands right up through the midline. On the exhale, open the arms as you come on forward into that standing forward bend. Let your next inhale lengthen out your spine. And we're going to step into down dog from here. So you know you put your hands on the surface you like to use. Reach your way back. Let your next inhale bring you out to plank. You can stay in plank. You can move through if you want for a back bend. You don't need to. You can come to the floor if you want and do a sphinx or a cobra. Or you can stay in your plank. And we'll come on back into down dog. So take your time. Let yourself walk a little bit in your dog. Turn your head a little side to side. And we're going to do that same thing on the next inhale, coming out towards that plank. Again, if you do a back bend or not, it's totally up to you. And then again, we'll come on back into down dog. And this time, let's bring our right foot forward to come into lunge, however you need to get there. And then we'll come back into standing forward bend, feet underneath us. Full deep breaths. See if you can let yourself count when you inhale. See what you reach when you exhale. And then maybe see about letting your exhales be a couple of counts longer than your inhales. We're going to bring our hands on back up to our hips and bend our knees and rise on up to standing. And inhale our arms all the way out and up. And on our exhale, let our hands come down together in front of our hearts. And enjoy finding your mountain pose. If you need to sway a little bit, do. Find that sense of being very balanced between your feet, grounded equally through your feet, and then drawing upward with your thighs, up out of those grounded feet. Find that spot for your head where you're not tense. So if you send your chin a little bit forward, you see what happens. Or if you tuck your chin back, and there's that happy place right there in the middle where you can find your chin about parallel to the floor, crown of the head reaching up. Nice. We'll unfold our arms on down beside us and do whatever you need to do. Move around a little bit if you need. Walk if you need. And we're going to come into some warriors. So I'm going to flip my chair around. If you're using just blocks, have them at the front of your mat here. And we're going to step our right foot back and come into warrior two. We're going to get that right foot about parallel to the back edge of the mat. You can always send your heel back farther if your knee and hip and ankle allow that. And then bend your left knee. Get really comfortable here in the alignment of your front knee. And then from here, start to reach your arms on up and out, a little bit higher than your shoulders. Soften your shoulders down. Go ahead and bring your gaze out over your top hand. Get the height of the hand where you're really comfortable, where you're not lifting your chin up, right? You're easily able to look out over the top of that hand. Feet in the floor equal. Feeling very balanced between the front and the back of your body and the right and the left side of your body. And then let's straighten that left knee out. And we're going to bring the left hand down for triangle. Now you can be up really high in triangle. You can put your hand on the top of the chair there. You can put it down onto your thigh, down lower to the seat of the chair or a block, or down towards your your shin or your ankle. And enjoy feeling your thighs lifting up here. Thighs lifting up towards the hips. One more breath. And we're going to bend the left knee and come on back into Warrior Two, pressing those feet away from each other. And now let's turn our left palm up and inhale, reach up towards the sky with our left hand. Breath into the left ribs. And on the exhale, we'll come into side angle this time. So your left hand or forearm can be on your chair or your thigh. You can swing the right arm up into line if your shoulder lets you, or you can keep your hand down. Same as triangle really, except now the left knee is bent. Extended side angle. We're going to come on back into Warrior Two, pressing the feet away from each other. Nice. We're going to bring our hands down. We're going to turn our feet more parallel and set up for a wide-legged forward bend. So bending your knees, grab blocks if you know you like that as you come on forward. Take your time so that you're able to get your feet as wide apart as feels good to you. You can bend a knee at a time, as long as it doesn't bother your knees. Good, and then come on back into center. And take your time here. If you like to grab some blocks and get them up higher so you can get out of your hands, you can put your forearms on blocks. Or you can let yourself release all the way to where the top of the head releases down towards the ground. Up to you and your back. So just be mindful. Obviously you're engaged in the bottom half of the body, but you really want to let go in the top half. And receive those full, deep breaths. Good. One more breath. And now be mindful as you start to head up, right? So if you need your feet closer together before you rise up to standing, by all means adjust yourself. And then once you do get up, bring your feet together, walk around. If you need to move through your ankles a little bit and your feet do, if you feel a little stiff. And we're going to do the other side. So this time it'll be the right foot forward. We're coming into Warrior Two. Have your blocks or your chair there handy for yourself. Line up your heels. Line up that right knee right out over the center of the foot. Good. Rising the arms out from the shoulders a little higher. Soften shoulders down. If the hands don't like to be out there, your shoulders bother, you put your hands down. And if you can look out over the top of that right hand. So again, trying to ease your way into finding that place where you have length in the back of your throat. Good. Now from here, we're going to straighten the front leg out. Feel your thighs lifting upward as you bring your right hand down for triangle. For me, I like to use either the chair or a block underneath my hand. If you're using a block, it can be in front of or behind that right foot. Thighs are lifting up. If your left shoulder bothers you, put your hand down on your hip. You don't have to have the hand straight up from your shoulder. Thighs lifting up. Good. One more breath. Now we're going to bend the front knee. Come on back into Warrior Two. Pressing those feet away from each other gets us back into core strength here. And now turn your right palm up. And inhale, reach up towards the sky with your right hand, breathing into the right ribs. And on the exhale, come into your side angle. So it can be your right hand or forearm onto your thigh. And you can add that left arm up if your shoulder lets you, or keep your hand down. Feel equal through the sides of your body. You're not collapsing into that right underside. Good. We're going to come on back into Warrior Two, pressing those feet away from each other as we come. And let your hands come down. Turn your feet more parallel. And again, grab your block or blocks if you need them to come on into this wide-legged forward bend. Adjust your stance, how wide you are. If you need to bend a knee at a time, do. And get yourself then really set, and we're going to walk our hands over to the right. Now you might just want to shift your blocks a little bit, or you might want to walk your hands over all the way to your foot. See if you can bring your right hand to your right hip when you get there. And you can roll your shoulder up if it's comfortable. And then we'll bring our hands down so we can walk back through center. Walking towards the left again. How far you go, totally up to you. Left hand coming up to your hip. If you want to roll your shoulder up and kind of look at the ceiling, you can. And then we'll come on back down. Walk on back into center. And again, adjust yourself to where you know you're going to be able to breathe comfortably and not fight yourself in the pose, right? So in other words, you're just going to breathe. The pose is going to do everything. All you need to do is be able to accept those full deep breaths. Good. One more nice deep breath here. And then again, when you get ready to rise up, you just be mindful of what you need to do to come on up to standing and letting those feet come on together. And then again, if you need to move them around through your feet and your ankles, do. If you're using a chair, you might want to turn it around. You definitely want to have your blocks handy here. And we're going to come into stepping our left foot forward and our right foot back for a lunge. Just an easy, nice lunge here, just to let yourself stretch out. And then we're going to come into pyramid pose. So we're coming from the bottom up for our pyramid. Bringing that right heel now inward and down to the floor. So that means most of us have to step inward. If you're in a long lunge, most people have to shorten their stance a little bit to get into this pyramid pose. So both heels are on the floor, thighs are engaging up. You're trying to think about your hips being nice and level. So think about that first, and then we'll check it out. So engaging now, thighs upward, lengthening into a nice long back. And then shifting your weight to your right hand, bringing your left hand to your left hip, and rolling that left shoulder up. So the twist here is in the middle of your back. In revolve triangle. So feel the thighs engaging upward. Feel that sense of drawing your hip pointer bones towards each other with your belly. One more breath. And then bring your hand on back down. Let's go ahead and bend that front knee. And then we're going to switch to go to the other side. So however you want to switch, whether you want to step forward or back, come to lunge first. So right foot is forward now, left foot is back. Let yourself enjoy stretching out here. And now when you get ready to come to pyramid, again, most of us have to shorten the stance a little bit and bring that left heel onto the floor. The foot's turned out maybe 20 degrees, for most of us. Thighs are engaging upward, lengthening equally through the sides of your body. So again, think about a nice long back here. Good. And then shifting your weight to your left hand. Bring your right hand to your right hip. Roll that shoulder up. If you can put your hand palm flat down on your sacrum, do. Feel your thighs still lifting up. Imagine drawing your hip pointer bones towards each other with your belly. Good. One more breath. And then we'll come on back down with the hand. We're going to step forward and get our feet right underneath us. Come on into your standing forward bend. So release if you can. Let your head hang. Maybe even nod and shake your head a little bit. And let's try lifting our toes up again. See if we have any better luck here. Let your big toes come down and the rest of your toes stay up. And then lift the big toes up. Now you're on the four corners of your feet. Feel real balanced. And then bring the toes down, but leave the big toe up. And then bring all the toes on up again. If you want to take your hands and massage them a little bit, you can. Spread them out a little bit if you can with your fingers, and that feels good. And then just release. And come into your breath. Good. And then we'll bring our hands on up to our hips. We're going to bend our knees and rise up. And inhale our arms all the way out and up. And on our exhale, let our hands come down together in front of our hearts. Find your mountain pose. Let your body adjust, right? And if that means it needs to move a little bit, let it move a little bit. Swaying or just shifting a little bit. Finding your balance between your feet. Good. And then we'll let our arms come down, shake out just a little bit, all right? And now, you know, you can leave your mats where you are. You can pull to a wall if you want, okay? But we're going to do a little half moon with our backs to a wall. So you might have to step off your own mat and find a place, like, I don't think you're going to fit there. You might have to go over there. But just bring a block with you, all right? I think you're fine. And Donnie, you can either use that one or that one, and then Nancy has one too. So all what we're going to do is let our right leg be our supporting leg. Put our right hand down on a block underneath us. Too bad you don't all have this pole here because it's really handy. And then lean back into the wall, right? So you feel that your supporting foot is usually maybe 6, 5, 6. It depends on you, your body type, right? Away from the wall, but it's easy to feel your hip into the wall, your shoulder if you can, and then you can just let yourself lean back into the wall, even rising that left arm up if you choose. So the toes of this left foot are slightly angled down. You don't want to try to lift them towards the ceiling. You want to let them angle down slightly. And sometimes that supporting knee needs to be bent. So if you're tight in the back of your leg, go ahead and just be easy. Let the wall support you. Opening up through the hips, but also extending through the spine. If your neck bothers you, look down at the block or at your hand there. Because that feels really, usually very releasing for the neck. One more breath. And now to come up, just be mindful. Take your time. Ease your way up. This is really deep in opening the hips. So if it bothers you, don't do it. You can always, if you want, grab both your blocks, have the wall beside you, and stay in warrior 3 with your toes down, right? It is up to you if this opening, this stacking of that right hip on top of the left feels okay or not. So be mindful. And some people it won't work. And if that doesn't work, again, let yourself just practice a little bit of strengthening for that supporting leg without opening the hip. And again, whether you stretch this top arm up or not, up to you. And again, you don't want to feel your neck uncomfortable. So if you need to look down, look down. Let the wall support you. Sometimes being a little farther away from the wall is better, or closer to. Good. We're going to come up. So you want to bend that supporting knee probably. Let yourself come on up. Walk your feet out from the wall a little bit. It should feel like a big relief to bend your knees a little bit, like you're coming into a chair, sitting into a chair, right? But the wall supporting you. And then turn your palms forward. Let the backs of your hands press gently into the wall. Now, you're going to have all these curves in your back. Don't try to tuck your tailbone forward and press your back into the wall or anything. Let the curves happen. And let yourself release there. You'll feel your quads. Good. And then come up a little bit. Let yourself get your heels closer to the wall. Send your hips forward enough to clasp your hands behind you. And then see if you can lift your chin up a little bit. Your head is entirely supported. Belly is lifted. You don't want to feel any compression in your low back. So if it's too much, get closer to the wall and don't look up so high. If you want more, step farther out from the wall, lift the belly, and let yourself look up a little bit higher with the head supported. But if that, again, you don't want to feel pressure in your low back. There's a lengthening down. The top buttock muscles are lengthening downward. It should feel really good, like a relief, not like something that is uncomfortable. Good. One more breath. And then just let your hips release back to the wall. One more time. Bend your knees. And if you want to come forward, you may want to step your feet out farther and maybe put your elbows above your knees. If that feels like a big relief to you, do it. Or maybe it feels good to straighten your legs up with your hips back into the wall and come forward over your legs, right? And if that is like, no, that's not a relief, that's awful, then don't do it. Stay with your elbows above your knees. Good. One more breath. And then we're going to slowly make our way up. And take your time. Walk yourself on back in. And we're going to come down to our mats and sit. Sit on the floor. So if you need, grab a blanket or 2 blankets or a block and a blanket so that when you sit, you know you're more comfortable in your hips, right? Stretch your legs out in front of you, move through your feet and your ankles a little bit. And then let's cross our left ankle above our right knee into that figure 4. Now if you need to be below your knee, be below. And if you need a little bit of support, you can put a block so that you don't feel stress in your hip or your knee, right? As you come forward. So if you come forward and you feel a little tweakiness anywhere, that support can take that away. It can help a lot. But coming on forward, feel the heel on the ground, and you can come as far as you want. You can reach for your toes if you want, or you can stay right here, coming a little bit forward, pressing the ball of the foot into your hand, or even interlacing your fingers between your toes. So if that feels good, you can let yourself spread the toes out that way. Good. One more breath. And now slowly come up. Let your foot, now your left foot, come, if you can, to the outside of this right leg somewhere. You can always move the leg over to get it outside, or if you have to, you can keep it to the inside, right? Sit up nice and tall here. Nice inhale. And on the exhale, we're going to twist. Left hand's going to come around behind us, and you can have your hand on your knee. You can draw the crook of your elbow up into that knee if that feels good. Let yourself feel the left sitting bone drawing down. And you can decide in a twist here, do you like to turn to look a little more behind yourself? It doesn't have to be continuous. Sometimes if you inhale and you back out of the twist a little bit, and then you exhale and come a little deeper, sometimes that feels really good. Good. One more breath here. And then use your belly to bring you back around into center. And we're going to stretch that left leg out long, and we're going to bring that right leg in again for that figure four. So adjusting, putting support underneath if you need, flexing through that right foot, and then again, if you come forward and you feel something and you need support, put it there. And you can reach again, either reach for your toe if you want, if you like to come a little bit farther forward, and that helps you find more in the back of that leg. It's just thinking, there's a lot going on here. It's the right hip, it's the back of your left leg. Just take your time and enjoy. Good. Well, one more breath here. And as you start to rise up and the knee comes up, again, if you need to adjust the left leg a little more across the midline, do. Sit up nice and tall, take a nice inhale. And on the exhale, we're going to twist. Again, your left hand can be on that right knee. The right hand can come on around, just very lightly touching the floor. Or you can go across to the outside of the leg with your arm if you want to. Again, if you need to come out of the twist a little bit when you inhale, do. Sometimes that moving a little bit in and out of a twist can be helpful. Good, so one more breath here. And then use your belly to bring you on back around into center. Stretch your legs on out again and kind of let your legs do flip-flops. Be easy. You can circle the feet around. And then stretch your legs out long and bring your hands behind you. And you can turn your hands out a little bit, like 45 degrees, and draw your chest forward and your shoulders back. You can look up a little bit if that feels good. So similar to what we did when we were at the wall, you know, and we were leaning back, but you don't have the wall there now, but you're opening your chest. And this might be enough for a lot of us just to stay right here for a couple of breaths. If you like to bend your knees and let yourself get your hands under your shoulders, either turn that same way or fingertips facing the foot of your mat, you can lift up into that four-footed table if you choose. That is up to you. So be mindful, don't do anything that hurts. And you can be really mindful of your neck too, right? So don't do something that stresses your neck out. Good. And then if you're up, come on back down. Stretch your legs long. And then just come up, turn your hands to where the backs of your hands are on the floor. And then you might just want to bow your head a little bit. Some of you might actually want to fold a little more over your legs. You know, that forward bend is certainly different for every one of us. So a release, either just letting your head come forward or folding forward if that feels good. And try not to push into your hands. Just let the weight of the backs of the hands, that alignment of the wrists, help you release instead of like forcing anything. And then we're going to release all the way back up so that we can come down onto our backs on the floor. So have blocks handy there for yourself in case you want them. And bring your feet onto the floor once you get down. Widen your feet towards the outside edges of your mat. And see if you can let your arms come out from your shoulders, but then let them come up a little higher. more like a really wide open V or a Y, right, with your arms. Let your head roll a little bit side to side.